Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Paris Henriksen Show. Today, we have a pretty special guest, Will Wilson. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. Very happy to be here.
Awesome. Happy to have you here. Let's kind of get started by telling everyone a little bit about who you are and what you do and kind of take it from there.
So I am from Nashville, born here, raised here. I'm a Nashville native.
Nice.
And primarily, my main focus right now is real estate. I own a real estate company in Nashville. We have about 8 agents. I'm just spreading financial literacy to everybody right now.
Okay. So what was it about real estate and what were you doing before real estate?
So before real estate, actually, as everybody else in Nashville, I was doing music.
Okay.
So I did music.
I did know this.
Yeah, I did music for 10 years.
Yeah.
Out of college, I went to Belmont, but from there, one of my mentors was just he was in real estate.
Okay.
So he put that bug in my ear.
Nice.
And that's where it started.
Okay. So what was obviously you have your own brokerage. So what was the decision between obviously starting your own brokerage or going to work for someone else?
I think what really started that was the 1099 path. If you're an independent contractor, you're in sales and that, I've never been a realtor that wanted to go with a big brokerage name, like a big company. Yeah. So my own thing was that real estate's like sales, right? It's a people industry. So I'm a big advocate on you don't need a big company brand or a big company name. So that's kind of been my premise from my origin is that you don't need a big company name, right? Yeah. So I just always wanted to streamline that from my foundation, and now just start my own, like a boutique type firm. And I try to preach that to everybody is that if you work hard enough, people work with you, not the big brand names. Like people want to buy homes with you, not the company. So even my agents, their clients don't care about me. They're going to care about working with them. Yeah. So I try to keep that foundation there.
Okay. So do you still do any music stuff or is it just all real estate?
Nah, I retired. I retired. I gave myself until I was 30. Right. And at 30, I cut it off. But I'm done. No more music.
No more music.
I did enough and it didn't pan out. So you got to pivot and go a different direction. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So what is the long-term goals for the brokerage and kind of what are you hoping to achieve?
Long-term goals would be, initially, right? I want my foundation to be a company that can spread financial literacy as opposed to a transactional type of company, right? Yeah. So I want to actually genuinely help people, not just in one transaction, throughout their entire real estate goals. So we like to set goals. If I were to meet with you and you say, I want to buy a house, I want to ask you, what are your goals for the next 5 years? Let's get you a 72-month plan. Get you in a home. If you want an investment home after 2 years, let's do that. But, probably scale that same energy in different markets, right? Thinking Kentucky, Florida, I got some people there. So but I want the foundation and the premise and the base to be financial literacy, education, and just helping people. That's good. That's the primary focus for me. Okay. And that's my long-term goal is to scale that, right? Get brokers in other locations to have that same energy, right? And just and our company be known for genuinely helping people, not just a transactional piece. Right?
It's different because I think every other real estate firm is just so transactional. So it's nice that yours has that point of difference.
Yeah, for sure.
So what is a typical day for you look like, or a typical day in real estate? I know they're all different, but.
Yeah, correct. So, it depends. So when I wake up, I meet with myself, from 9 to 10, every day I have a meeting with myself. Nice. And, I hold myself accountable. It's just a full meeting and I just talk crap to myself and it's there. I kind of get my head ready. I do that every day from 9 to 10. Okay. And then beyond that, it's just an array of different things. I may have closings, I may have showings, I may have meetings. It's just all over the place. Every day is different. Yeah. But primarily it's just I go to sleep the night before and try to improve my next day. I go to sleep with a purpose. So I plan my next day out with a plan to improve on the day before. And I think that that's key too. Like when you're working like a sales job, like, cause you can become very stagnant without that.
Yeah. You
can just, run in place like on a treadmill without a plan. So I go to sleep with a plan for my next day, ideally. Okay. But I necessarily don't know what the day is going to look like every time I wake up. Cause I may have a blue tape walk. I may have a final walk. I may have a closing. Right. It's just, who knows,
It's just different every day.
Yeah. And you just got to kind of like navigate your day. Like you don't really know what's going to happen,
Yeah. What is like, I guess with real estate, what are like some of the challenges that can come up? Obviously there's a lot of challenges, but what are some of the main ones that you've faced, and kind of how do you like overcome that?
Lately it's been, so I'm big on, and I tell my agents this too, like a lot of our job is you're kind of like a psychologist to a degree. So like lately, like with the market kind of shifting from like a hyper seller's market to more of a balance, I think what we're doing now is having to just be like therapists to our clients as far as like where rates are, right? Where rates are going, where the market's going. So it's a lot of just communication on the front end on what the process is like. So it's a lot of like therapy is what I call it. Like it's a lot of therapy on like what the market's going to do. I mean, truly nobody truly knows. So it's like, it's just a lot of communication and being patient right now. And then like, how do I overcome that? I mean, it's just honestly just being authentic with people and being just genuine and honest.
Nice.
It's what I would say. That's my biggest, it's just like honesty.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I think that, I mean, I find that that's one thing that attracted us to you guys when we were talking about a project that we're working on. And it was like you guys were so authentic and real, even though we hadn't met you guys yet. It just kind of seemed that way. Yeah. So that's what we really liked and appreciated. Cool. What would you say? Obviously, you have several agents on your team, like you mentioned, and a lot of them who I know, a lot of them look at you as like a mentor figure. How do you navigate that, and how do you help them?
I think it's you have to do it in a degree where you don't overexert yourself, right? Because you can give too much of yourself away. Yeah. So it's got to be a degree where I like to do the approach where it's kind of like I pour into people as much as they want to pour into themselves, right? So like I can't overindulge into an individual's success if they're not going to do it themselves. Yeah. So that's kind of been like my basis, and a good point to that as well is that that's something I'm learning as well, right? Like, like I don't want to over pour into somebody, right? Like if I don't want to give you all my time, energy, resources, and knowledge if you're not trying to seek it on your own. So I think that that's a big key component that I'm learning as well, is that I need somebody to match that. Like if I'm waking up, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., working, grinding, and I'm gonna dedicate my time and energy into you, if you don't do the same, right? If I cannot see that you're independently being self-sufficient, then like I don't want to do it. But so that's something actually like in 2023, I'm telling myself is that I can't overextend myself to people that don't want to help themselves. So that's honestly something I'm learning, right? Nice. I'm still developing that piece to I'm putting that in my bag of tricks. And it does hurt sometimes because I want to be there for everybody. Right. You have that energy. You want that kind of person. To my mental health to try to like help people that don't want to help themselves. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's a big thing. Like, and like I said before, like you have a very giving energy. And I feel like in general, when people are like that, it gets taken advantage of a lot. Yeah. Or they just may not have it. You know what I mean? They just may not care that much, right? Yeah, like that too. You got to have a different personality to work sales. Like in any industry. I mean, I'm just keep saying broad sales, but real estate, like you can't turn it off, right? Like you can't have off days. No. So like that's the kind of, and I don't expect everyone to have that energy. I would love it, right? And that's where I'm learning because initially, like I thought everybody had the same passion that I had, but like when you learn that people don't, that's when you kind of got to scale back. Yeah. I guess it's kind of like a relationship, like where you can't expectations is a thing. That's a big thing. Right? Yeah. You got to scale back expectations. Yeah. Yeah. Solid point there. Yeah. Super powerful. What are you grateful for right now in your life? Family, right? Like family primarily. Yeah, nice. It would be family. My mom's birthday is on the 19th. Like family. I got a really good, strong support system. So family is my main, like apex, my center point would be family. Okay, nice. I have a really good support system.
That's good. That's really good. What would you consider your mission on this planet to be?
I honestly think and I mentioned this in an interview that I did recently. I kind of feel like it's to help people. When I genuinely say that is to a degree that where I come from. I actually grew up not too far away from here, on 14th Avenue. Okay. So I feel like that, and it was not quote unquote 12 South. It was a completely different place. I kind of feel like my mission on this earth is to help, to assist people to get. And to spread knowledge. So I kind of feel like Peter Pan, Robin Hood with real estate.
Yeah.
Where we were you go get the knowledge from people and you take it back and you give it to the people that need it, right? So I think that's kind of my biggest goal. I wake up every day and one of my things is how can you help one person a day or more people? So that's kind of what I feel like my mission is. And that's kind of how I translate that to the company as well, is that I want to give back.
Mm-hmm. So obviously you've said you want to give back, but how important do you think it is in life to give back in general?
I don't know. I think it's kind of subjective to a degree, because I know people that are really successful and never give back. So I think that, I don't know, personally, I think you have to. To me, it feels just like an obligation.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like a lot of my blessings come from giving back.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of my blessings come from, trying to touch people that where I was before, right? And I'm not saying that I'm just this high and almighty person, but if I have any kind of knowledge that I know the majority does not have, I want to give that back.
Yeah.
So that's where I stand. But to me personally, I think it's mandatory.
I agree. I think it is too. I think there's a lot of people that, like you said, there's a lot of people that don't give back, but I feel like you just feel different when you do, and you feel better about yourself and about life. Correct. And it's just, I feel like it's something that
it's fulfilling.
Should do.
It is fulfilling when it comes from a good place too.
Yeah. Do you have any self-love practices or any tips that you want to share that help keep you in a positive mindset? Yeah.
So after I've been in therapy for the last 4 years.
Okay.
Which I think, what I've been working on is I meditate and breathing exercises help me out, because I have crazy anxiety. But I think that a lot of men necessarily have trouble opening up. Society always tells us, don't cry. Even when little boys, you don't.
Yeah.
I think that's something I kind of want to get into next, is letting men know it's cool to cry, it's cool to be vulnerable, it's cool to be open.
Yeah.
And I think that creates better partners, because
completely,
for women later in life. But I think that we as men just bottle a lot of things up. As far as but my therapist has helped me with a lot of breathing exercises. I wake up in the morning and I breathe. From that 9 to 10 slot, I'm that's all about me. I'm working on myself. Every day.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
But it's a lot of breathing. Honestly, breathing exercises really do work. I'm not into yoga, but he's told me to try yoga. He's told me to try meditation and breathing. But breathing has been that's been my personal thing that's helped me. So it could help other guys. But I think a lot of my friends, right? I tell them that and they clown me for that. I'm in a group chat, yo, I'm having breathing exercise, and they'll joke on me about that. But I think a lot of guys need to get in touch with
their self and their feelings.
Yeah, and being open and vulnerable to that.
Yeah.
And also, look, I'm old now, I'm 38. But when I was 20s, I could care less about any of that. So it does come with time and growth.
And how do you think those breathing techniques and the exercise and things you've been doing with therapy over the last couple of years, how do you think that's helped you in your business as well?
Well, it for sure has helped me, because it helps me think better.
Yep.
And it helps me maneuver through my day better, because like I mentioned before, is that I do have anxiety. So that helps me clear my head, plan my day, and execute better, for sure. Most definitely.
Okay. What do you believe the key ingredients are to living a meaningful life?
So I don't know. That's a good question, honestly, because it depends on what meaningful means to me, right? We may have different versions of what meaningful is.
Absolutely. So
right?
To you, what is
that's a subjective question that I think that, but personally to me, to me, meaningful is just family.
Yeah.
Right. I'm always going to revert back to family. So and helping, family, taking care of my family and assisting others is like meaningful to me, right? And not necessarily always putting myself last, but like I don't necessarily always put my goals or happiness to the forefront when it comes to family.
Okay.
So that's meaningful. Is like their happiness, their success.
Their happiness first.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Okay. Do you have like a favorite place where you like to go where you feel the most grounded, or somewhere where you can like recenter and connect yourself?
That's another good question. Honestly, outside. Like I work a lot inside.
Yeah.
So I've recently tried to just get outside in the sun more. Like
Nice.
So like anywhere outside, I would say.
Okay. So like more in
like
nature or
regrounds
like
me.
just outside?
Oh nah, I don't really like camping and going in
You
nature.
don't like
and stuff.
nature?
I just need the sun. Nah, I'm not camping. I'm not going in nature. I mean, I've gone hiking
walks,
before.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere where animals can touch me. But like I'll go, I'll go outside.
You're outside.
Right. I'm not hiking, camping, and hammocks and stuff. No.
Okay, so no animals. Noted. Okay. Do you have a favorite place where you like to travel, or a favorite travel destination?
Honestly, not off the top of my head. Not a favorite.
Anywhere?
Not
you're
a favorite travel. I mean, I do love Colorado.
Okay.
I love Colorado. And yeah, I mean, like, but not a favorite really. I mean, I've traveled a lot of places, but I necessarily don't just have. I love Nashville. I don't really just have a favorite travel destination, honestly.
Okay. Is there anywhere that you want to go on the bucket list?
I want to go to Australia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Australia's pretty cool. There's a lot of animals and hiking involved in that, though.
Yeah. I just met a friend I met him like 10 days ago. He's from Australia.
Okay.
Yeah. He's into like motorsports and stuff.
Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of that.
Super cool. Right.
Yeah. No, it's a cool place. It's very relaxed and very chill. It's a lot like, kind of like California. I guess in a way.
Really? Is it?
Very similar. Like, well, the people are a lot nicer. Put it that way.
Australia?
In Australia than California.
Y'all got like crazy animals and stuff, right? Like
we do, but they're not.
Spiders
They're not just walking around the city.
Where are they then?
They're like in the more natural or nature areas.
That's why I don't go
areas.
walking, right? That's why I don't go camping and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what's out there.
That's true.
Right.
That's true. Okay. Do you have a favorite quote or a favorite saying that you kind of live by?
Yeah, I do. So I love Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, he's a legend.
Yeah, he is. When it was a quote that he was just talking about, he doesn't like passing people the ball because they don't work for it. I love that quote. Like when he was like, I don't pass on the ball because they don't work. He got like a stigma about like he doesn't pass the ball, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like people that come to practice right before and leave right after. And he's like, I don't pass on the ball because they don't work hard. I love that quote because it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And he's been villainized for not passing the ball, but that premise is beautiful to me.
That is.
Because you don't want to pass a ball to somebody that doesn't work for it.
That's very true. It's
a good analogy for life that I do like is don't pass on the ball because they don't work.
I like that. It's so interesting to see how many different answers we always get when I ask that question.
Yeah. What's yours then? What's your favorite quote?
What's mine? Ooh. I don't really necessarily have a favorite quote, but with all the fashion and all the stuff that I normally love to do, I usually just go with like a Chanel quote, which is like, a girl can be two things, classy and fabulous, which is like kind of in line with my life and how I am. So, but I mean, obviously I love all the fancy spiritual quotes and all that as well. So kind of just depends on the day. But,
yeah, right. I like that.
Yeah, thank you. Do you have a favorite song or a favorite album or anything that has inspired you or gotten you through some like difficult times in your life?
So my favorite album is probably DMX's Darkest and Hell is Hot. It came out in '98. And that kind of like got me kicked off with rap. Like,
okay,
rest in peace, DMX. But that was my favorite album. As far as like an album to get me through difficult times, I necessarily don't always turn to music for that. Yeah. Right. I write a lot. I write poems and I write poetry and stuff myself. But like I haven't really turned to music for hard times, honestly.
Okay.
But I do. I like hip hop a lot. Like I grew up on like New York hip hop.
Okay.
like New York style hip hop is what I grew up on.
I like that. That's really cool. Is there like a TV show or a movie or a book that has inspired you in any way?
Yeah, I mean, as of recent, Rich Dad Poor Dad kind of like lit a fire under me. Yeah. Which the premise of that, like, have you read that book?
Not for a while, but I have read it.
It's so like just the premise of like the mindset capacity in that, like that kind of like lit a fire under me. You know, like the Rich Dad Poor Dad mentality. It was a really good trigger. But that kind of like spurred like the investor side in me. Okay. Like to take risks and invest in real estate and you know, that gamble a little bit as opposed to just, you know, staying just safe. So yeah, that Rich Dad Poor Dad's a great book. I would suggest everybody should read that if you are in sales. Okay.
I feel like even if you're not in sales, it's a great book.
No, it is. It is for sure. For both. I mean, it will push your boundaries and challenge you. Yeah. And make you uncomfortable. It's always good. That's where true like growth is, at least that I know for personally, like you grow when you're like uncomfortable. If you're safe, you know, you really don't grow much. But that book kind of like molded me to be like uncomfortable and unhappy to be happy later. So like, Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's a great book.
I like that. We'll link to everything in the show notes as well, that Will's referring to. How significant do you think it is to build a business with heart rather than just build a business focused on money and success?
Yeah, and I think a good quote is, you know, when you chase money, it runs from you. I think that's like a good quote that I've always learned. But yeah, so like and a good parallel to that would be like when real estate agents, like you get a client and you look at them as a dollar sign, it doesn't work out. Like it doesn't work out like that. It never works out. So the basis of a client like should be helping them. Yeah. But a lot of agents keep it transactional. So like they'll look and try to like calculate their commission when somebody tells you like their budget. So I think that's wrong. And that's really never been like how I operated in real estate. Okay. It's always been like, let's help you. When I get my check, I'll get my check, right? Like, and if I get a check, it is what it is. Like, but when you really do like only have a vision and path just for money, it really will run from you. So it's kind of got to be like a genuine passion for helping people, right? And then the money will come, right? Yeah. Like the money's gonna come if you're doing it for the right reason.
Yeah, completely. So I guess you kind of talked about, you know, with your clients, you kind of build them out a plan and a process. Yeah. How does that, like, because obviously probably not every client comes to you wanting a plan or a process. So kind of how do you differentiate those type of clients? And then how do you, you know, continue to work with the ones, like what's normally the process?
I'll give you a good example. Somebody called me today. And was like, hey, I want to buy a house, you know. So I asked them key questions like, you know, how much do you have saved? What's your credit score? How long have you been working at your job? Yeah. And then I asked them, like, what's your plan? Okay. You know, and 9 times out of 10, people are like, I don't have one. So that's when I can say, this is what you can do, right? Yeah. Buy you a house, possibly live in that for a year, you know, if you're single. Rent it out, have you some residual income, build equity in 2 places, buy you something else. You know, and then maybe give them just an outline on how to build some financial stability with the money that they already have saved, right? And you leverage the bank's money, grow your wealth, right? Build assets. So that's kind of like what I do. And I may give them 3 or 4 different plans. Okay. And they can choose which one works best for them. And the company can help them either way. But it's just... what it is just they have to get uncomfortable a little bit to get comfortable too. So that's something I present to them as well, is that, you know, you have to, if you want success or if you want to, you know, say I had somebody actually that was like, I don't want to work forever. Like I want to do real estate. And she was like, I just want to quit my job. And I'm like, yo, you can't quit your job. Like you have to keep your job until you're in a place where you can leverage your real estate and have that be your residual income. Yeah. So, but as far as the plan is, most people I talk to, especially first-time buyers, they don't have a plan. But most people don't plan anyway, right? Like most people don't have plans. Because if you have a job, your job plans for you. You have to come here every day, 8 to 5. That's your plan. right? So you don't necessarily have to have a plan. But I've noticed the most successful people I know, you know, they have a routine and they have plans, like whether it be 5-year plan, 10-year plan, 20-year plan, 30-year plans.
Yeah.
And you execute that plan. So that's kind of like what I try to implement is just goal setting, essentially.
Nice, nice. Do you have any tips for like young entrepreneurs starting out or young entrepreneurs trying to grow a business? Like what advice would you give to them?
You just have to sacrifice, you know, early on. And you just really can't care what people think about you. Like a lot of people just really, truly care about the perception of others, family, friends, social media. You have to sacrifice, live uncomfortable for a while. And truly not care what other people think about you.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what I've run into with young people, especially, is that they want to live for like social media, Instagram and Facebook. And you really can't care about what people think about you if you want to be successful.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like
but that's one facet. I mean, that comes from a place if you don't have money already. I mean, if you have money already, then that's a different conversation. But if you are starting from ground zero, then you have to just throw everybody else's perceptions of you out the window and create your own reality.
Yeah.
And fight against you every day, not against everybody else. That's what I would suggest.
Yeah.
But that's really hard though for young people to get.
I mean, I think it is, but it's a great comment, because I think that a lot of people just kind of, they are so concerned about what people think, and they're kind of stuck in that space, which it's, you know, okay at times to care about what people think, but most of the time, and especially when you're building a business, you can't really do that.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Do you believe in the term leaving a legacy? And what's your take on it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do to a degree that I feel like, but I kind of think that's a good piggyback off the last question. I don't necessarily think that you have to leave a legacy on everybody, just on people that matter to you. Right?
That's powerful,
like strangers, like if you can impact people that are that matter to you, per se.
Like your family and
friends.
Correct,
yeah. Or family, close friends, immediate family. Like that's where I think the legacy really does matter, because that's what's going to carry on. To most people, right? If if I was somebody like Kobe,
right,
or a celebrity, then that legacy matters a lot more, right? Than because he has a broader reach, like a crazy reach. Yeah. But I mean, I just think for your average everyday person like me, I think the legacy would matter. What do I leave to my daughter? Right. Like what's the legacy there to my daughter, to my family, to my friends? Yeah. So I think that it does matter. But and again, that's why I think that's a good segue to this question, because I think people try to like leave like different legacy to situations or people that necessarily don't matter.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. What is your hope for your daughter's generation, and what do you think? What do you hope she takes from what you're doing and what you're building? That's
a good question. For as far as her generation, I'm not sure. I don't really know what the next generation is going to be like. I'm kind of scared, honestly. Like it's kind of a lot of crazy stuff. Yeah. Going on for the next generation. I don't necessarily know. I mean, it'd be interesting to see. Yeah. I think I don't know. That's a really good question. I mean, I think about that every day, about like what's she gonna be like, what the dynamic of society is gonna be like when she's older. You know, like just as a father, like protecting her, like what is that gonna look like in 15, 20 years? Right. But I don't know. I mean, I would hope that I instill just like a really good work ethic in her. Yeah. And a sense that she doesn't have to be dependent on somebody's son, like to take care of her.
Take care of herself, yeah.
And just that energy, right? Like just so she's like self-sufficient. Yeah. And not relying on somebody else. But that's a good question. I'm not sure what society's going to be like. I mean, there is going to be a shift. There is a huge transition coming, I feel, for our next, for Gen Z. What do you think? That's a good question. What do you think the next generation is going to be like?
Yeah, it's interesting it's interesting because it's like there's a lot changing in not the best way, but then there's a lot of good things coming too. So I think it's like, it's kind of hard to tell, but hopefully it'll be better than where we're at. Yeah. That's what I'd like to say. Because I hope that that's the case, because there's a lot of craziness happening right now in the world.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to get worse. That's why I was saying I'm kind of concerned about it. I think our society is going to increasingly get more disruptive.
What do you think is the cause of that? Is it just everything you think,
I mean, just a broad general statement, the media, right? Like media is pretty a huge cause. Right. And dysfunction and divisive rhetoric is the media. But I think, but I also, and then social media too is pretty corrupt. But I honestly do think that by the time like she's like 20, it's going to be an entirely different world. So she's 3 now, but I think it's going to be a whole different ball game. I'm not sure what it's going to be like. I hope I'm here. Hopefully. To see it. But we'll see.
Hopefully it'll be better. What would you do for the rest of your life if money was no object?
I don't know. I'd probably just get a boat and live on it. Go live on a boat, sail around the world. Live off the ocean, and hopefully I don't get hit by a whirlpool or something. But probably, probably just live. I do want to get a boat and live off. Yeah, live on my boat.
Nice.
That's what I would do. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. There's a few animals out there, though.
You say animals?
Yeah, in the ocean.
Well, I need a boat that's strong enough to fight them off.
Okay.
Because I'm not the best swimmer either.
Okay. If you could sit down with anyone, past on or alive, and gain insight and inspiration from them, who would it be and why?
I think you know that answer. Kobe Bryant. Kobe B. Bryant, yeah. Okay. Easily Kobe. First.
Okay. Yeah. And what would you ask him? Well,
the first question I would ask him would be, I like to pick people's brains about obsessive, like anybody that's like really good at something, like they have an obsessive personality, but something triggers that. So I would like to ask him, like, what made you this way? Mm-hmm. Like, who hurt you? Like, what made you this way? Like, something has to, when people like are really good at something, generally it's something like triggers them. Yeah. So like, I would like to ask him, like, what made him that way? Because like a couple of my buddies that play in the league and the NBA, they were always like, he has no friends. He doesn't party with us. He doesn't go out. Okay. So like, that's a piece of the sacrifice, because, you know, you have a lot of fun if you're in the league, like you have a lot of money. So if you're not indulging in that, like what happened to you made you just obsessed with your craft? And that's what made him a lot better, because he wasn't more talented than those people.
He just became obsessed with it.
He was just obsessed with that. So I would like to ask him what made him obsessed with it. Initially, that would be like what spurred that on, because that's what I would really do want to know. Right. And I always pick people's brains that are really successful, like what made you this crazy? Because it is like a level of craziness to every successful person that just says, oh yeah, I'm gonna, like Tom Brady, like he shunned everybody for his football career.
Yeah. Yep. Tom Brady, Roger Federer.
Like, what made you that crazy? Like, to just say, I'm giving up everything for this.
Yeah. It's wild.
So that's what I would ask him.
That's a good question. It's a really good question to ask him. So that was, I guess, the end of the questions. But is there anything else that you want to share? Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else in real estate that you've got coming up?
I don't know. We're doing a real estate class. I'm not sure when this is going to air, but we're doing real estate classes actually now in Nashville. If anyone is interested in that, my email is contact@williamwilsonhomes.com. We're going to do those quarterly, like just like a real estate workshop. Yeah. We're doing our first one this Sunday, February 19th at Virgin Hotel. But we're going to do that. And it's just to spread knowledge. It's free. Okay. And I'll bring in different people. Different successful real estate investors, to just give free game away to people. Nice. That's what we're doing. And I'm doing like it's going to be of sorts like a real estate agent type of guide to help people try to create and generate organic leads. Okay. So I'm actually done. I wrote a course for that, and I'm going to be giving that away this summer. Okay. Nice. Yeah. And outside of that, I mean, use us for your real estate needs, buying, selling.
Awesome. Awesome. And how can, like, what's your Instagram? How can people stay in touch with you?
Yeah, my Instagram is William Basquiat, Basquiat, at WilliamWilsonHomes.com.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, this has been such a treat. And I usually say to most of my guests that we'll bring you back in like a year and a half's time and see what has changed and how the evolution has evolved. So I look forward to seeing that, and hopefully the projects we're working on will be out by then. So hopefully we can discuss that next time. But
that's exciting.
Thank you so much. It's been awesome.
No, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.